Some of the challenges that we're now seeing as we move into, let's say, the more complex application workloads, it's not as simple as just lift and shift. I think what we're seeing with our customers is that, yes, you can lift and shift applications, but then some of the challenges they're facing and how do they manage and maintain that environment once it's in the cloud. The performance of these applications is another thing that is quite critical, and we'll definitely get into that today as well. So it has been overhyped, but there's also been a lot of benefits, so we shouldn't undermine that. And I think the other important aspect from an overhyped perspective is that I would say there was probably quite a lot of concerns around, is this actually going to materialize and be the big thing that everyone says? And the answer to that is actually yes.
Your planning is absolutely essential, and it has to speak to what you're trying to achieve. If it doesn't, you'll start getting the bill shocks, you'll start dealing with issues of data sovereignty, all the ills that people have, started spouting about clouds and the hard lessons that they've learned. You learn all those the hard way, right, if you don't do your planning properly.
We need to get better at understanding our workloads and how the seasonal changes affect those workloads. So ultimately, that comes down to our bill shock scenarios.
It's a very large, complex environment. IT organization can no longer, if they really want to deliver value to business, they can no longer claim a gatekeeper knowledge all the time. They need to be able to really be focused on leading in the cases where they can lead, as well as following in the cases where they ought to be following a partner, but to make sure that they deliver for their organization the right business outcome.
You can now modernize Z system workloads and put it into Azure or AWS. It's possible via specific partners and technologies. But the question is, should you? If the business case still works on-prem and it works out better to actually, modernizing an application or buying something off the shelf and putting it in the cloud, if you do that comparison, I see nothing wrong with keeping it on-prem.
And I think there's, for medium-tier companies that are slightly less enterprise and have smaller requirements in the cloud, there's that tier that's grown as well. So there's a lot of these kind of things where the landscape's a lot broader. So you're going to need people that help you just know the landscape and understand it at a high level. Along with the soft skill stuff, there's even almost a pre-sales tech environment which is missing. People that know the breadth of this landscape and what will suit you in those particular circumstances.
It's putting a different set of pressure on the CIO community that we have in the market today. How do you fail cheap? Failing fast, I've just got used to. And all that failing fast has been interpreted into is put your hand up when you make a mistake really quickly. But fail cheap and fail fast has put a new dynamic onto it, which is forcing us to move towards that ecosystem, that partnership model, that partner for purpose, not for the emergency that you're facing today. So pick the right partner for that journey that you're in and be okay with the fact that you might have to exclude them for portions of that journey. We're heading into really interesting territory. The beautiful title that you gave this session today was around the honeymoon. I'm actually saying, I think we've got to the stage where we want to go back to dating for a bit, please.
We've come to the end of our session, but I think we've uncovered some great interesting angles on this and shown that there's a lot more going on than just a technical journey and just getting along with business and then just solving a few business problems. It's about much more than that. It requires more conversation, more introspection, more partnership, and fundamentally understanding where you are right now. So maybe what we say at the start of cloud, you want to find out where you want to be. But at some point in cloud, you need to pause and say, where am I right now? And what do we take from here? How do we take that further?